So, getting started in this excerpt, I always try to hear the line that's coming up before me. The oboes, with their very strict and very rhythmic line, dum pa pa bum to ding. With the first little entrance, I want to break that squareness. I want to break that 4/4 or the 2/4 feel that happens before the solo, and really kind of enter the dance floor, if you will. Yum ba da dum ba da da. The little hint with these sforzandos and the first note of those measures, you'll want to make them short. You'll want to make them leap into the air. Try to fight that urge. Make them a bit longer. The danger is to clip, therefore creating a big gap between the notes. You also want to have a chance to vibrate that double stop after you've landed it perfectly in tune. And go ahead and change the color right away. You have this very poised and boisterous first two bars. Now, go to the lyrical side. Playful, very melodic. I start on the D string just for a color, piano. And I think of it as 3 mini destinations. So to here, and now a longer line. Okay, so so if the first one went into the middle of the bar, or rather to the beginning of it, the second part of this phrase goes to the end of the last bar and still grows to resolve in number 45. So putting it together. Yeah, so with those ups, they're not necessarily all ups, but you do have quite a bit of freedom in that bar. So the idea is to transition from the lyrical, melodic side of things back to this sort of pesante, boisterous character of the beginning. So from number 45, I take every opportunity to find a different shade, to find a different color or a timbre of the violin. Show as many colors as you can within as little time as possible. I go on the E string here, and I stay on the A. Also, to get really into detail, phrase-wise, first bar into the middle of the bar. Second time, same, but now it's a long phrase. All the way to the beginning of the next bar. So this is probably something you're already doing, but just always good to hear it again. And we're back into the same phrase at the beginning. Take your time. The orchestra will wait. The conductor will wait with the arrival after the ricochet. Make it more soloistic, make it more fun. And even in this measure, make sure that you're showing the moving line. Don't just play, but it's something that gives it a bit more importance. Now, for this big shift, relax. Relax. This is the first one that we're always anticipating and kind of we get worried about. Think of the fourth finger. Don't shift onto the second finger, shift onto the fourth. Find the B natural. If you find the B natural, the D is going to be in tune, guaranteed. And try to connect that C sharp. It's part of the same triplet. Because if you think of connecting it to the run, well, you're adding one more note to worry about. It's much easier to connect it to the previous note. Depending on what fingering you do, of course, I've found that for me, it's easier to shift onto 2 and 4 and stay in position and then shift. I know some people prefer to shift onto the C sharp. Not convenient for me, but to each their own. Again, you have a bit more time than you think. It doesn't really matter if you take time, as long as the pattern is together. Don't take time in between the triplets, but if you need to stretch that bar, it's perfectly fine. And again, it's this contrast of the poised, pesante, boisterous feeling versus this very lyrical legato duplets generally. And you see, I'm doing everything I can to not play the same note the same way twice. Whatever you do also to make sure that you sustain it all the way through. So to put it together from the second half of this. Get into these triplets, into the string, definitely détaché, and really kind of let it give you a run up to the top. 1. And when you arrive at the top note, don't stop. Keep going, keep that pace flowing. We've heard many times a lot of people get to the top and they take their bow off, and then they're trying to do something, something silly like that. Don't worry about it. Keep it on the string. There's a lot of activity in the orchestra at this point, and you need to project over it. So keep it on the string. Keep the bowing separate. What I do is I hook the D sharp in the second bar. I hook it up, and then everything is hooked until here. And the idea is that I want to land at the beginning of the next bar. And I want the rest of that bar to be sort of a rebound, so that I can start this next scale from here as a beginning of a new phrase-let, if you will. All the way to that. I kind of cheat and do a little harmonic on the last beat just to get it to ring a bit. And then always counting the rest. bum, bum. So in this section, relax. You're now joined by the rest of your group. You can lean back a little bit. It's a little bit of a breather. Fortissimo, but don't press it. Let the section make the sound. Trust your colleagues in a way. Even when you're taking the audition, you have to have that in mind. So you don't want to come in and go. Just lean back. Strauss, not Shostakovich. Different fortissimos. And let the curvature of the music speak for itself. Let that be your guiding light as far as the phrase direction. And right back to the same. Same idea here. Use the B natural in this bar as a bit of a destination point. That is going to be your waypoint where things change. So if everything is flowing forward, from here, the harmony changes, the color changes, and we start making that dim. At first, it's a little bit counterintuitive because you'll want to arrive at 48. But this is where the clarinet has to take over. So you have to step back and give them some space. Make sure you note that dim going into 48. Keep it playful, keep it short. In a way, this is kind of background music. The conversations in the crowds, in the background, the camera has now shifted focus towards a new hero. And from here, you start to kind of step forward, back into the forefront a bit. And you've got three very distinct crescendos, run-ups in a way to the cadence. From the bottom, from the B sharp, one long crescendo, one long line. Let that last note ring into the air. Don't rip it off before it's time. So from 48. And that's basically the idea in a nutshell. Hope that helps.